Hello everyone, and welcome to World Decoded. Today, we embark on a journey into the dark and mysterious past of Victorian London, exploring one of the most infamous and enigmatic figures in criminal history, Jack the Ripper. The Whitechapel murders of the late 19th century left an indelible mark on the annals of true crime, and the identity of this elusive serial killer continues to elude us to this day. In this video, we'll delve into the details of the case, examining the background, the victims, the investigation, the suspects, and the lasting impact that Jack the Ripper has had on popular culture. So, grab a cup of tea or your favorite detective hat, and let's unravel the mystery together. But before we begin, please consider subscribing to our channel as it really motivates us to bring out more videos for you guys. With that being said, let's get in. Jack the Ripper, the infamous serial killer who terrorized the streets of Whitechapel in the late 19th century, remains one of the most enigmatic and elusive criminals in history. The Whitechapel murders, attributed to Jack the Ripper, occurred between 1888 and 1891, leaving a legacy of fear and fascination that endures to this day. Whitechapel, located in the East End of London during the late 1800s, was a poverty-stricken district plagued by overcrowding, dire living conditions, and a high incidence of crime. The socio-economic challenges faced by the residents created an environment ripe for social unrest and criminal activities. In this context, the Whitechapel murders unfolded, marking a dark chapter in the history of crime. Jack the Ripper is traditionally associated with the murders of 5 women: Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. All the victims were prostitutes, and the nature of the crimes suggested a deliberate targeting of this vulnerable group. The murders occurred between August 31, 1888, and November 9, 1888, during a period now referred to as the Autumn of Terror. Mary Ann Nichols was found murdered in Bucks Row. Nichols suffered severe abdominal mutilations. Annie Chapman was discovered in the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street. Chapman's body exhibited extensive abdominal injuries. Elizabeth Stride was found on Burnish Street. Stride's murder showed a deviation from the pattern, lacking the mutilations seen in the other cases. Catherine Eddowes was murdered the same night as Stride. Eddowes' body was discovered in Mitre Square with brutal injuries, including facial mutilations. Mary Jane Kelly was the most brutally murdered victim. Kelly was found in her room at 13 Miller's Court, with extensive mutilations to her face and body. The gruesome nature of the killings shared common elements, indicating a consistent modus operandi. The murders occurred predominantly at night in secluded locations. The victims' bodies were subjected to brutal mutilation, with a degree of precision that hinted at some knowledge of anatomy. The removal of specific organs, such as the uterus, contributed to theories about the killer's potential medical or anatomical expertise. The investigation into the Whitechapel murders faced significant challenges. The Victorian era lacked the forensic technology we take for granted today, and the absence of reliable eyewitnesses further complicated the efforts of the police. Inspector Frederick Aberline led the investigation, but the killer's ability to evade capture with each successive murder fueled public frustration and eroded confidence in law enforcement. The police, overwhelmed by the complexity of the case and the lack of modern investigative tools, struggled to identify a viable suspect. The public's fear and outrage intensified as the body count rose, creating an atmosphere of panic in Whitechapel. The Whitechapel murders became a sensational media story, with newspapers contributing to the public's fear and fascination. Sensationalized details and speculative theories filled the pages of newspapers, creating an atmosphere of hysteria. The intense media coverage not only amplified the public's anxiety but also contributed to the emergence of various hoaxes and false leads, further complicating the investigation. The term Jack the Ripper originated from a letter, purportedly written by the killer, and sent to the Central News Agency on September 27, 1888. The letter, signed Jack the Ripper, claimed responsibility for the murders and taunted the police and the public. A multitude of suspects were considered during the investigation, ranging from local individuals with a history of violence to aristocrats and even members of the royal family. Some theories suggested that Jack the Ripper might have had a background in surgery or butchery, given the precision of the mutilations. However, the lack of concrete evidence and the contradictory nature of witness statements made it challenging to narrow down the list of suspects. One of the most infamous suspects was Montague John Druitt, a barrister whose body was found floating in the Thames shortly after the last canonical murder. However, the lack of definitive evidence connecting Druitt to the crimes led to the dismissal of the theory. Other suspects included Aaron Kosminski, a Polish Jewish immigrant who was eventually confined to an asylum, and Sir William Gull, the royal physician. However, these theories lacked conclusive evidence, and the true identity of Jack the Ripper remained elusive. The legacy of Jack the Ripper extends far beyond the late 19th century. The case has inspired countless books, documentaries, movies, and theories. The enduring fascination with Jack the Ripper has given rise to the field of ripperology, where enthusiasts and researchers delve into the minutiae of the case in an attempt to solve the mystery. The Whitechapel murders are also a popular subject for walking tours in present-day London, allowing tourists to explore the historical sites associated with the case. In recent years, advances in forensic science have prompted a re-examination of the existing evidence in the Jack the Ripper case. DNA analysis and other modern forensic techniques have been applied to historical artifacts, such as clothing worn by the victims. These efforts have yielded mixed results, providing some new insights but also facing limitations due to the age of the evidence and the challenges of interpreting historical forensic data. Jack the Ripper remains one of the most notorious figures in criminal history, a spectral presence that haunts the annals of true crime. The Whitechapel murders, marked by their brutality and the killer's ability to evade capture, continue to captivate the public's imagination. As technology advances, there is a glimmer of hope that modern forensic techniques may one day unveil the identity of Jack the Ripper. Until then, the case stands as a haunting reminder of the challenges faced by investigators in a bygone era and the enduring allure of unsolved mysteries. As we conclude our exploration into the haunting case of Jack the Ripper, the enigma endures. The fog-covered streets of Victorian London may have long since cleared, but the shadow of the Ripper still lingers. The unsolved nature of these heinous crimes has left an indelible mark on the pages of history, and the legacy of Jack the Ripper persists, echoing through the corridors of true crime fascination. We've scratched the surface of this intricate puzzle today, but the questions surrounding the identity of Jack the Ripper continue to captivate and confound investigators and enthusiasts alike. If you enjoyed our journey into the mysteries of the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on our upcoming explorations into the world of true crime and historical mysteries. Thank you for joining us on this chilling adventure, and until next time, stay curious.